Oh, hello. Do you think that Big Brother's watching? Or that the Illuminati is planning to take over the world? Have you happened to have an encounter with a space alien today? Well, if the answer to those questions is yes, then grab your hat. This is tinfoil hat time. Greetings and welcome back to Tinfoil Hat Time. So we are going to talk today about that red pill. It's right up there. The alien is holding it in Morpheus's hand. So, I wanted to do this one kind of to celebrate the million mark, and I'm waiting. I was waiting for 5 o'clock stats. So as of right this second, I'm sitting at 999,711 views. So needless to say, by the end of the hour, I should have crossed 1 million views, as my daily averages right now are looking at about 200 views per hour. Let me see what my real-time stats are showing me right now. So yeah, last hour, real-time stats gave me 260 views. And so I will be expecting, once we cross 6 o'clock, when the stats update, I'm guessing that we are going to see 1 million views. And this is a celebration of that. So we are going to be talking about the red pill. Ha 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 ha. And I thought I had fixed that, so I was on the same side, but I guess not. Anyway, what we wanted to actually look at here with this is several people have asked over the time I've been doing this. You know, how did I come to the thinking that I have on many issues? There's actually a guy out there called Red Pill Coach who's actually has a few things. I haven't watched a lot of his videos, but he has some interesting things, and there's a lot of this type of stuff that we want to look at. And so what we're actually going to do is talk about my story as to how did I come to my current thinking a lot of these things, and, you know, et cetera, et cetera. So let's go ahead and start in with having a look at some comments here. Let's see. So, Linux user, greetings. Political Monkey, making up for missing the stream. Yes, you're back. Why MG Toe? I mean, what is MG Toe? I don't know. Is that towards me because you're incel or because of a divorce? I'm guessing, I don't know. Referencing singleness, I guess? I don't know. I've never really cared to marry. And I've actually simply spent a lot of time mentoring youth rather than pursuing a relationship in that respect. Probably a lot of it just has to do with such a crazy dysfunctional background I've seen, and you know, pretty much everyone, believer or not believer, that I know have been through horrible, horrible relationship situations, and I just don't care. And frankly, I'm happy how I am, so I'm gonna stick with that. Farron sadly, I'm not sure he's with us, but I hope you are. If not, you are here in our hats. JJ Game, greetings. James Miller, greetings. Hello, Isaiah. Striker Wolf, hello there. LJ, greetings. KO2610, hello, Kitty. Hello. He's sitting in a weird spot considering the camera angle today. Life outside the windows. Greetings, Mitchell. How are you? Did I hit a million? Not yet. I'm guessing I'm going to be at a million when we hit the 6 o'clock stats. So we should take until that long. So hopefully we will cross a million while we're on the stream. So I was kind of hoping was going to happen. And if not, we're marathoning it until we have a million views. Not really. I have things to do this evening, but. Red pill is the cure for depression. You will be much happier, trust me. I'm live early. Actually, I'm usually trying to go live 5 o'clock on Saturday. Saturday I do 5 o'clock for those folks across the pond who like to catch it. I like doing an earlier one for those in Europe. And then I do later ones here in the States. Brian, the computer geek, greetings. My hat is on and I eagerly await the stream. Yes. Oh, there it is. No way, it's 5:01. Yeah, well, actually, I would have started exactly on time, except I forgot my hat again on top of my bookshelf, and I had to go run for the hat, and that took an extra few seconds. And then the kitty ran off. I had to go recapture the kitty, and then when he came back, he realized that, yes, we were doing a stream. Then he plopped himself right back down, and I was able to start. So I was 1 minute late. Greetings, Baron Albatross, and Dr. Rob. How's it going there? Greetings and salutations. Striker Wolf actually had an encounter with a space alien today. He was a nice guy. Cool. Yeah, they're pretty nice. They're pretty nice. Trying to kick the sickness, mostly gone. All right. Well, I hope you're getting better. Anyone else have an actual tinfoil hat? Which red pill? There are several of them, and some of them are more taboo than others. And greetings, Harold. Where'd my thing go? Okay. No taboo. The red pill is about freedom. It took years ago. Pizzagate is about as taboo as it gets, and there are some sick, twisted people in this country in power. Greetings. That's right. I call you Enigma. Greetings, Enigma, because I can't read all that. I mean, there's some Greek lettering in there, but it looks more like runes and stuff. I used to actually be proficient in reading white magic runes. Fun trivia. Watch out for the red pill coach. He's fake and a fraud. Huh, really? Yeah, I've watched 1 or 2 videos that were intriguing, but I can't say I've actually sat down and watched a lot of his stuff. But thanks you, Striker Wolf. I might have to go watch him a few more times and find the issues. I was watching a video from a gentleman today. We'll probably talk about it a little bit here today, who I subbed just so I can remember his channel because I want to show him to some people of an example of what not to do. He did a video like 3 weeks ago. I'm going full-time on YouTube. Hasn't posted anything since. Like, yeah, if you want to go full-time on YouTube, that ain't the way to do it. Look up Deepfakes AI. Not during the live stream. It's not safe for work, but it's scary. Oh, yeah, I'm familiar with the concept of deepfakes. Yeah. Keegan, greetings. Just got home from the mountain with a new desktop background. Nice. Very cool. Very cool indeed. Gito, I'm 33. I've been in enough relationships to see the truth. My coworker has been ruined badly after divorce. Greetings, Jonathan. And Tomha. Hello. Is it Tomha? Haha, that's Tom. Men going there. Oh, thank you. I'm not up on all that lingo. I mean, the last lingo I recall was dinks, and I think that was what, 80s, early 90s maybe? You know, double income, no kids. Yeah, I don't know. In fact, even the concept of talking about a video called Red Pill, I wasn't a huge fan of, because it's like I try and avoid some of these cultural, social norms in the middle, and that's kind of the direction that I don't jump onto those type things as much, but we'll actually get there. When my family member got divorced, it burnt me pretty bad too, yeah. Greetings, Robert. Like to mentor more, kind of already been doing so. Yeah, I mean, check out Big Brothers Big Sisters for mentoring. That's a good mentoring program I've done a lot of work in. Passion is teaching kids and teens and encouraging them. My hat needs repaired. I need to stop and do a repair job on my hat. I'm having a couple little problems with it. All right. Greetings, Kathy. Buddy, hello. So you have my special hat? Yes, I do. You tried TV Max before? No, I've not. Dad passed away in November. Left an impact on me. Mentors sorely needed. Awesome. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, Mark. I think you got my number too, Mark. I know we talked about some website stuff too. Feel free to call me, man. That's fine. Just don't pass my number out to people. Why did it take 4 years just to get back the black screen issue fixed in Linux for AMD GPUs? I don't know. Host file is huge. Yes, my host file is huge. Jim Reed, greetings. Millennial Woes is a great red pill YouTuber. Millennial Woes. I've not seen that one. I'm going to write that one down and see if I can find anything. All right, so let's go ahead and start on in. Like I said, this is more. This isn't a usual tinfoil hat time. This is kind of be like more like a personal story, personal testimony time that is just kind of kind of talks about where I got the entire concept of this as a whole. And I gotta, whatever reason, my website did not fix itself right. All right. So the funny thing is I started doing some things. It's like, red pill, blue pill. There's actually a Wikipedia entry for this. It's intriguing to say the least. So of course the red pill is the opposite. The blue pill are popular cultural meme representing choice between knowledge, freedom, adversity, and the brutal truth of reality, which is the red pill, and the falsehood, security, happiness, and blissful ignorance of illusion, which of course is the blue pill. Popularized by the 1999 film The Matrix, and the film main character Neo is offered the red pill or the blue pill by the rebel leader Morpheus. Red pill would free him from the enslaving control of the machine-generated world and allowed him to escape into the real world, but living the truth of reality is harsher and more difficult. On the other hand, the blue pill would lead him back to the comfortable simulated reality of the Matrix. All right, so I'm actually going to stop right there on reading the screen and just kind of stick around here and talk. First, let's talk about the concept of the Matrix as a whole. And actually, I wanted to move my... I was supposed to be more over here on this one so you can see the hands, because I really liked the handwork that I did there. So, of course, this is Morpheus holding the red pill and the blue pill on my background, my green screen background today, with, of course, a little alien holding onto the red pill in his little hand. And the little thing behind me is the Illuminati symbol with a caption that says Big Brother is watching you, which you probably can't see most of that, but it's kind of cool. I want to kind of start with this discussion talking about the Matrix movie itself, because I was in college when that came out, of course, 1999. I'm getting old. But anyway, I was in college when that came out, and I knew a bunch of potheads or whatever, and I was never under those. I didn't inhale. I didn't even smoke it, all right? So, what is. Okay. But anyway, I did not inhale. But I had a lot of connection with some potheads, and so I ended up sitting in the room with people, and they got their pot going around the circle one hand, they got the video game controller sitting around in the other hand, and I was actually sitting in the middle of them all reading a textbook. Funniest thing, guy knew, he handed me, this is the very last time this guy's ever offered me pot in his life. He hands me I'm sitting there reading this chemistry book, he hands me this joint. I looked at him, looked at my book, looked at him, looked at the joint, looked at him, looked at the book. I closed my chemistry book and handed it to him. He has never offered me drugs again. Say no to drugs. I just think it's going to mess you up. All right. And so, of course, in that group of people, it was a big thing, oh, what if it's all true, man? And then, you get all this concept of what if it's all true? And then it became that meme, that cultural thing, that jump for us that moved into a reality, not a reality of the Matrix is real, but more of a reality of a reality for a philosophy. Of course, this is where tinfoil hat time lives, is that bridge between the actual objective factual reality and the crazy conspiracy theories. Because I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm not a 9/11 truther. As far as that is concerned, I don't think we ever will have the evidence. They took all of the stuff and destroyed it before anybody could see any of it. That is definitely the type of stuff conspiracy theories are made of, but I live in a place of reality, not a place of conjecture, and that's what separates these out. But taking the concept of the Matrix, do you want to live in the reality of the old way, or do you want to move on into this new way? This is where we get this question of, is the red pill or is the blue pill, is this something that is something we can objectively obtain, or what is this all about? And that's kind of what I want to talk about, is the way that I came to my mindset. And the way I came to my mindset, because I, of course, I was raised in a dysfunctional home, and I saw a lot of those drugs and other stuff around me, and I said, that's not really the way to do it. That's not going to lead anywhere successful. But I had no other direction, mentor, or anything to say what is something else. And so I latched onto the only thing that at least was another alternative to me, and that was education and school. And so I latched onto the education and school, and I went literally, if you take my 10th grade report card and fold it in half, you see C's and D's on one side and you see A's and B's on the other. It is, I mean, that night and day. It is interesting to see. And of course, a good friend of mine now, he was a teacher of mine at the time, my 10th grade biology teacher, and he's like, something happened in the middle of that. I'm like, yeah, I realized that my family background was not going to help me succeed. And I said, well, I'm just going to go ahead and give it a try with this education. I don't know education's going to succeed, but I know sure as well smoking a bunch of pot and drinking a bunch of beer is not going to lead me to anywhere I want to be in my life, because I've watched family members and friends fall down that life. My best friend from high school committed suicide on heroin, coming off of heroin. I had another friend that I worked with at the restaurant right around the time Matrix came out. He committed suicide. Heroin was involved. I've had so much death and tragedy around me early on. I knew drugs and alcohol was not going to be it. So was it education? So I flipped the switch, and I went from just being your typical high school, yeah, whatever, school sucks, into school became so easy for me simply because I woke up. And I ended up leaving school with a presidential award from for academic improvement, signed by Mr. I did not inhale himself. And I also, I earned numerous other awards. I got a few very small scholarships, like, awardment, improvement scholarships, paid for a semester of books or something in college. But then I went right off into college. And of course, you go to college and it's like, get a bunch of debt. And I realized at the time, now at that time, you could still work full time and pay for most of college with cash. You don't have a prayer of a chance of that these days. But at that time, you had the ability to do that. And my mom forced me to get a student loan in the way a mother can. I mean, there was no gun to my head or anything, but the way a mother can influence the 17 or 18-year-old son forced me to sign the papers to get a student loan. And I was, though, a pretty smart cookie. And I realized that if I didn't go to the financial aid office, they didn't give me another loan for the next semester. And so by my third semester, I stopped doing that, and I said, if I'm going to go to school, I'm paying cash the rest of the way. So I only took out loans for the 3 semesters. I paid cash the rest of the way through college. So I went through this college experience, and then I ended up skipping a master's degree, and I got a full ride scholarship to earn a PhD. So I skipped all of that, skipped the master's. I went right from undergraduate bachelor's, which I actually finished in 4 years, which is a rarity. I went right from there into PhD, and I actually finished my PhD in 6 years, which was a record for our lab. The average time of our lab, in fact, one of the other guys I graduated with, he spent 10 years getting his doctorate. I finished mine in 6. Because I learned how to play the politics a little bit. I ended up getting a job, and I had earned a PhD, and I was a college professor. I think I was 27, I think. It's either 27 or 28. I think it was 27 when I got my, I was 27 when I started teaching college as a full-time professor, and was it 27? Yeah, I was 27. I was 27. I got my doctorate in December of that year. And of course, the funny thing is you officially have your doctors when the final committee member signs. Just a fun little aside. I got my doctorate on Halloween, and the last committee member was dressed as a witch. So I got my doctor's from a witch on Halloween. I mean, who else can say that story? So I did the whole academic route, and then I was allowed to stay on another year as a visiting professor, but the college had a rule: you could not be a visiting professor more than 2 years consecutive. And so they said, look for another job. They said, we'd be glad to have you on another year, but look for another job as well. And that way, they're like, you have basically 2 years. And I ended up finding another job directing a program, which I was 28 years old. I was put in charge of this program out west. And I went out there and did all of the teaching load, mentored adjunct faculties, developed an entire series of lab manuals, tech end, laboratory end, all sorts of things like that. And I went in and followed that route, and what it looked like at that point in time is that education was working, except I had this entire concept of, even at that time, I still had a fair amount of debt. What had ended up happening is my card broken down. I got sick of buying $500 things. In grad school, I took out one more loan so I could get a car that wouldn't break down on me every other week. And so I ended up finishing grad school, and I also got involved in a stupid multi-level marketing group. So if some idiot approaches you for some multi-level marketing crap, slap that bad boy silly, because I lost like $30,000 in that kind of crap. Fortunately, most of it was cash, so it was chalked up to a bad mistake, but at least it didn't put me into the ringer for life. But I ended up using student loans to pay for all that because I was still in school and I was making quarterly interest payments. So the principals didn't get any higher, and I left school. I want to say by the time I left, I had I think it was 27,000. It might have been less than that. That seems too high. It wasn't that high. I did another 8,000 to fix my teeth too. So it might have been like 18 or 20, somewhere 18 or 20,000, I think is what I had. Which I actually paid off after teaching for 2 years. But I get to this point to where they're like, your education is this valuable, but it was going to take a long time. There were other reasons why I was able to pay it off so fast. But there were other confounding principles. I looked at this and said, maybe this isn't working as well. Because politics got involved. And I'm going to pause right there and have a read through some comments. And then we'll come back to the rest of the story here in a minute. All right, let's see. Okay, social experiment. Go out with this hat. Truthers and flat earthers would probably come to speak. Nice. I should make a tinfoil hat for an old baseball cap for funsies. I actually had one. I went through 3 or 4 revisions of my tinfoil hat before I started the series. I did a triangular one, like in the video foil from Weird Al. And then I did a baseball cap one, and then I did like a Jewish cap looking one. But I'm like, you know what? This is switched to Linux. We've got to make a tinfoil fedora. And so that's why it's a tinfoil fedora. That's what I got. What if you took both? Would you be the purple pill? Yeah. Big Brother's the dealer. Probably, Mel. Simple concept. Red pill equals freedom. Blue pill equals domestic slavery. There you go. A programmer, what's the best programming language to build Linux apps? I think a lot of people use, ask the people who actually know. I mean, Perl is decent. C, I guess. Respect for not being a truther. Yes. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Okay. Tom, how do you get around the issue of question begging? Give me an example of what you mean by question begging. Pseudo Linux, greetings. Education leads to a better life. It depends upon how you do it. Okay, I almost got banned from watching you because my dad saw the notifications and he thought it was the group. What group? It was the group. If you're being educated in useful subjects, that will help you in the long term. Drugs are pointless. Yeah, that's right. Drugs are completely pointless. I have had more people lose more things to drugs and alcohol, and that's why I don't drink at all. I mean, I am well over 21. I'm getting close to double that, and I don't see any reason to drink at all. I mean, I see more problems coming to our society from drinking than anything. I mean, if my idea is like, if you want to go out and socialize to a drink, I drink a Coke because I don't drink soda pop any other time either. So, do you think pot makes someone immoral for smoking? Do some people genuinely get relief from pain to avoid opiates and other drugs? Okay, as far as that, I would ask, if you want to ask the morality of it, I would have to ask the question of what is your purpose? The sad reality is most people who want to see marijuana legalized want to see it legalized so they can recreationally smoke it. And I have seen that lead to a lot of screwed up heads. I am not opposed to marijuana for the purpose of you got glaucoma. It's one of the best things for that. You have severe pain, cancer, AIDS patients. It definitely helps some of those. I would probably rather that than some of the other pharmaceutical concoctions someone gives us these days. I'd probably rather that. But the reality is most people who are pushing for legalized marijuana want it for recreational purposes. And I think that is wrong, personally, as a moral thing. Now, I'm not going to sit here and have a fight with somebody about it because that's something it's certainly a gray area decision. But my understanding of pharmacological stuff leads me into that conclusion. I'm not opposed to it for medical reasons, but I think far more people want to legalize it for medical reasons so they can smoke it for fun. And that's what I'm opposed to. SRS, which make people violent. Okay. Falling to drugs is worse than driving and texting. Yet the same fine. All right. Bless you, Tom. I keep praying for my own kids to be successful. There you go. Well, we will pray for them too. I also paid and worked to pay college. College prices are out of control. Yeah, in fact, I've been doing a lot of research on this lately, and the reality is that college prices have gone up almost 10 times in the last since I was in school. They've gone like 10 times as high. I finished all 4 years. Maybe it's not 10 times. I think it's 4 or 5 times. I finished all 4 years of college for $35,000. Right now, the same education would cost you about $95,000 to $100,000. So we're talking about 4 times higher, approximately. And wages haven't gone anywhere. In fact, if anything, wages have gone down. You got the Matrix idea from me, did you? No. I've unfortunately have been surrounded by a lot of people who are like, it's not a Matrix. But, okay. Sure, if I could do college all over again in 2018, yeah. And the reality is that the education just gets worse and worse and worse and worse. You know, you go into college knowing exactly who you are these days, and you leave a completely confused social justice warrior lunatic that's more concerned about your feelings than you are your facts. And this is our universal education. That's somebody who's been in the college industry. They went to college, self-taught, and landed a server admin job, but I was a computer geek in the teens, so I had a sort of head start. Yeah, the thing is that college is a good opportunity for people who are using it as part of what they want to do. If you want to be a doctor, you want to be a lawyer, you want to be a teacher, you got to go off to college. You want to be a college professor, you got to go off to college. Absolutely. But pushing everyone into college for the mere sake of going to college is not helping our society right now. Had friends in school. I'm almost 30 now. I have a wife and 3 kids. A son was a soldier for 9 years, and I'm starting college this fall with GI Bill. They have criminal records and dead-end jobs. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, the ones on drugs, I think you're saying. College 2018 is good if you meet and have friends not using smartphones. Yeah, good luck with that. All right, we're going to pause my comments right there, jump on back to the story. I believe I kind of left off right around college. So I'm teaching college, and the thing that really got me to first question, and I can't point to a single thing. A lot of people can say, this one thing made me wake up. I can't point to that. I'm going to give you a few possibilities. I think the green, yeah, like my awesome paper. That's cool. My green screen. All right. I identify a few interesting things. The first is okay, the teaching. I'm sorry, I got the phone call sidetracked me. All right, so the first is the teaching aspect. I'm brought in to teach chemistry. So I am teaching this organic chemistry class with, of course, this is organic chemistry. This isn't your basic stuff. And I think I had 8 students in this class, and we had this big paper worth 25% of their grade. And after 6 weeks, I collected rough drafts. One student gave me college level work. One student plagiarized the college level works paper. It was very comical. Like she didn't even open the thing up on her computer, change the size of the fonts or anything. She literally printed out the paper, 2 lines bled over onto the protocols page. She actually crossed the lines out with paper and submitted it to me. Like, oh God. And the rest of them gave me a single piece of paper with half of a page of text written in double spaced. So literally like less than a paragraph. After 6 weeks, rough draft, organic chemistry research paper, double spaced, half a paragraph, half a page, references to Cliff Notes and Wikipedia. So a friend of mine's in the English department. I take these papers on over to the English department. I say, what in the world is up with these students in this school? We run these papers through a Flesch writing score analysis that spits out 6th grade writing level. So here I have a class of organic chemistry sophomores in college giving me 6th grade writing level on a paper after 6 weeks. And I said to the class, you guys, this is not college level work. I said, this is 25% of your grade. This class is going to fail if you do not give me college level work. Well, a few kids in the class got their feelings hurt and they went to talk to the president of the university. And the president's like, we don't want to talk to our students like that. Let me tell you the end result. The end result is that I got 8 students giving me college level work. And they passed. They got their butt kicked by somebody who did not have a problem kicking their butt. But the president reprimanded me for hurting their feelings. Later, there were 3 different things. Regarding that girl that plagiarized the paper, I gave her a second shot at it. She plagiarized another source on the second time around. But she was a friend of the president or the vice president of the college and my direct boss. So needless to say, she passed the class after 2 plagiarisms on the same exact assignment. And then the third case was another one of these Fiowins ladies. She shows up to, or actually she stops showing up to my freshman level chemistry class. I don't see her for 6 weeks. She comes in on the 10 minutes I have in between my 2 classes like, sign this paper because I'm going to have the doctor diagnose me as ADD so I can drop your class and not fail it, but keep my scholarship. Because if she either dropped my class, she would fall under a full-time student and she would lose her scholarship. Or if she failed my class, she would have lost the scholarship. The only way to get her to not lose her scholarship is for me to sign this. So I said, I'm not signing anything for you right now. Leave me the paper. We'll talk about it. I take it to my boss. My boss agrees with me. He says she was passing the class just fine. She didn't show up. She missed an exam, five quizzes, an exam, and 6 weeks worth of homework. She just totally vanishes. Comes in 6 weeks later with all this, I have a medical problem, without any issues. My boss agreed with me. We said, I'm sorry, we're not signing this. The registrar of the university signed their name to that form so that she would keep her scholarship because how dare we hurt the students' little psyches? That was education. That is what got me to leave the education scene. If I cannot, as a teacher, get in there and do my job, that's a problem. That's what caused me to leave the education scene and to go full-time for myself. That was a contributing factor to the fact that maybe this society thing is broken, but it didn't end there. And the next place we're going to pick up is we're going to pick up at the lab tech. So we're going to jump over and have a look at some comments again. All right. Yeesh. All right. I study for a cultural philosophy bachelor. I study for free as my country pays studies for some students. Very good. Best language, what you ever feel most comfortable. Okay, back on the programming. Greetings, Maverick LSC. I always want to call you Salt Lake City. I'm doing well. Guess I can call you Dr. Morosky. Yes, you can, actually. Okay, a teacher told me and another student socializing during lunch does no good for your education. Wait, what? Me and another student socializing during lunch does no good for your education. Actually, it can do good for your education. Our whole economic system with the Federal Reserve is based on debt. The year after the Federal Reserve came into existence, the federal income tax bill was passed. Yes. Weird Al is awesome. That's right. Tinfoil fedoras. Yep, tinfoil fedoras. That's the distro I need. I need to make a security-centric distro based on Fedora, and I will call it Tinfoil Fedora. I mean, come on. We got to do it. It's vital. It's vital people need people. If you taught you guys, you'd always have first few minutes to say hello in Seattle when it came in to ask any questions in the last lesson, end of each class. Yeah. Question begging is assuming the answer when asking the question. Oh, yeah, metaphysics and epistemology are independent. I like turning things around when that, but I'm actually very well studied in the art of logical debate, and so it's really hard to win a debate against me. Alcohol is very important, Tom, please. Huh? I disagree. A drink a day, JJ game, can also lead to an addiction, which will make a lot of tears come, and that's kind of where I go. But you know, I'm not militaristic about that. Similar to Unity, Unreal Engine, Real Open Source. The Red Pill political group was almost banned from watching you. Oh yeah. I'll have to look into those guys. I'll have to go into those guys and see. See what they're all about. That's kind of crazy. No, I'm definitely not the Red Pill political group. Absolutely not. Country, it's socially accepted not to drink in company. So I got so much bullying from other adults, males mostly, just because I don't drink. Yeah. God made pop. There's something called moderation. God also made poison hemlock. So just, keeping that in mind. Suffering PTSD, so it helps me. Okay, yeah. What's wrong with smoking for fun? Drugs are really important to evolution. I'm not an evolutionist. Take that. Okay. Red Pill men are not a political group. It's an ideology. With marijuana, it says harmful young people, especially adolescents. I agree. Coming from a recovering addict, drugs are worthless. I'm 5 years sober and never felt more control of your life. Absolutely. In fact, I did a discussion. I primarily talked about pornography addiction on my other channel, but I hit some aspects of addiction. And the people that I have helped counsel through addictions, they always say year or two out, they feel so much more in control of their life because the addiction causes you to lose control. And you're being driven around by this addiction, not by the reality of who you are. So kudos to you, Jonathan, and good luck in your endeavor. And I know it's hard. After 5 years, though, it should become a little bit easier. Even the bad drugs need to be legalized so we can reach and heal the users. Matrix is your favorite movie. All right. Do you need college for programming? It completely depends on what you do, Pizza Lovin' Nerd. I am a front-end web designer developer. If I wanted to focus a lot on PHP, I would technically be a programmer. I don't. I would have to learn it myself. No, you don't need it. Now, if you're trying to get employed by a big company and they require you to have a couple years, as a bachelor's degree in programming, then yes, it depends exactly on what type of job you're looking to do. If you're going to work for a big company, you might need that school. If you're going to go out on your own, learn it on yourself, and do it, no, you don't need that at all. What you need in the real world to succeed, you need a portfolio that doesn't include your school assignments. That's the big thing. It's like, oh, here's building your portfolio. We'll put all your school assignments in there. People are like, yeah, this is lame. I want to see your programming something good. I want to see the websites that you've done. That's what I'm going to make a determination. If I want to hire somebody to do graphics, for example, I want to see real life graphics you've designed, not school assignments that you've followed steps in books. And that's the reality is, if you're trying to get part of a big company and they require it, yeah, you might need school. If you're trying to do it on your own or get into another freelance type group, you don't need the school necessarily. You need the education. You just may or may not need the degree. And that's the difference. Education is critically important for every aspect of our life. But there's ways to get education that exceed school. In fact, I have a funny story. I did a couple programming classes in school. I just finished a C++ class, and I was talking to my programmer, and I was like, oh yeah, I just wrote this program in Visual Basic to help me convert my relative and absolute errors in physics because they're a royal pain in the butt. And she's like, oh, that's cool. Maybe I should talk to you, she says jokingly. I'm like, oh, why's that? She says, oh, well, I'm teaching Visual Basic next semester. I've never seen it before. So you want to learn Visual Basic. Are you going to learn it better from a guy who's been tinkering with Visual Basic for the last 10 years, doing very good YouTube tutorials? Or are you going to learn it better going into a college classroom with a programming professor who's never seen the programming language you are about to learn from them? That is what's broken about our education system. That was 20 years ago, and I promise you, it has not gotten any better. And so you need to learn it. Where you learn it is inconsequential. You might need the piece of paper. There's actually a school in Salt Lake City that their entire basis is a test out type system. If you are knowledgeable in programming, for example, and you want the degree, you can apply to that school in Utah and test out of everything and finish a 4-year degree in 1 year if you know everything. That's the way education should work. UK universities are now Marxist brainwashing centers. American universities are not any better. Funny thing is, technical trade school grads perform much better than degree holders. It's gotten to the point now where employers are preferring trade school. Ooh, you know what, Striker Wolf? That is a perfect lead-in to the next part of my story. So we're going to go ahead and go over that. All right, so I leave behind the college, and so this is right in 2010 when the huge housing market crashed. But we are also in a town that had a double crash because our local economy crashed as well. So my house lost over, I think it was 60% of the value. I bought the house for, I want to say $180,000. I'm only 2-3 years in on the 30-year mortgage payment on the thing. Don't do a 30-year mortgage. And now all of a sudden I'm sitting in a house that's valuated at $80,000. I lost $100,000 in the valuation of my house in a town that has maybe a 40% graduation rate. Meth all over. In fact, there is a documentary narrated by Val Kilmer. I don't know why. Val Kilmer narrates this documentary called American Meth, which half of it was set in the town I lived in. We had some bad meth in the town. In fact, one of the kids I worked with, his half-brother's dad was a meth addict. And so I got a chance to see some of this firsthand. And I even had to tell that guy, go away. I have a knife in my hand. You cannot see your children right now. Leave. It was an interesting town. I'm in this town, and I'm trying to find some other job. I have a PhD. I have numerous years experience in lab and medical tech and this type of stuff. And so first I'm like, we have a couple big chemical companies. Simplot's around here, Tata Chemicals around here. There's more Trona Mining than you know what to do with. All these guys, analytical labs, chemistry labs, a lot of drug testing places, things like that. I went out and applied to a lot of different places. Nobody wanted to hire a PhD. They wanted to hire the guy with the associate's degree, the 2-year job, because they want the guy with the 2-year degree, not the guy who actually knows what they're doing. And that is kind of where I was. And I've told this story before, but one of the jobs I applied to is a lab tech position, because the lab tech position would allow me to keep the house it wouldn't be nearly as good money I was making as a professor, but it would allow me to keep the house and all that kind of stuff. And the I apply to the job. They call me back and say, we would love to hire you, but you don't have a certification in hospital lab technicians. I have a PhD in medical laboratory research. A PhD in medical laboratory research should qualify me for anything anywhere remotely close to lab work in a society that pushes us towards lab work. I mean, really. But no, I don't have a associate's and a certification in lab tech work, so they can't hire me. That was a major, major thing that made me say, maybe it would have been better if I didn't earn a PhD. Now, I did get caught up in a small startup company that only hired master's and PhD level people in the field with teaching experience. So if you are a student, you may have heard the name Sapling Learning. I was one of their very first salespeople for Sapling Learning. When the company only had like 30 employees, in fact, we didn't have that. We fit our entire team in the Acton Business School seminar room in Austin, Texas. That's how small it was when I was working for them. This was way back. I think I joined the company less than a year, maybe about a year after they kind of launched. It was after their first academic year in actual business. We grew 300% the first 3 years. I traveled the country, showing people how to use this. Of course, that company was bought by another big company who's like, why are we having these PhDs at $35 an hour doing this stuff when we can train monkeys to read a script? Which, of course, caused the downfall of Sapling Learning because we were professors who knew what a significant figures were, and we weren't reading from stupid scripts. We were actually people in the field. So it kind of caused the decline of the company when that happened, but they laid us all off and hired people at less than half of our wage to do phone calls and read from scripts. And so you had that all kind of stuff going on. And for me, that was another thing to say, okay, this is how the world works. Big company buys up a fast-growing thing, lays off everyone who's making money, and puts barely above minimum wage, barely trained monkeys in there pushing buttons. use, button. I mean, that's what they did. They were taking highly educated, competent people who could actually answer the questions the professors wanted, pulling them out to save money. That's what happened. And so that leads us to Stryker's comment. Funny thing is, technical and trade school grads perform much better than degree holders. And that's what I started to see. The importance of education is extolled upon the youth of America, and they are never told, even at the end of it, you would have done better off spending a lot less money, getting a trade degree, and going into that field. Rather than spending $90,000 to $250,000 on a degree to learn about what trash people with male-like genitalia might happen to be, that no one wants to hire because they're all caught up in their own social opinion. And that's the reality of the workplace. Because as a person who has been in academia and a person who has been in business, I have been in chambers of commerces in multiple states and cities. I've done a lot of projects, not only in the United States, I've done projects across the world. People care if you can set aside your opinions, work together on a team, get stuff done. Have a portfolio, get your work done, meet your goals, meet your deadlines, operate a basic business. That doesn't happen if you're sitting here going, you need to call me by Z because that's my pronoun of choice. Get over it. Get over it. Because in the business world, all we care about is, can we let aside our differences? Let's have a little give and take. Allow me to call you by something else. That's fine. And you can call me by something else. I don't care. Can we set aside our differences and go? That's what a college-educated person seems to have trouble doing. And that kind of leads me to this one guy. I've been following his channel. I want to say his channel's Mark Gordy or something like that. This is a guy, he's like, I'm going full-time on YouTube. And he hasn't done a video for 3 weeks. But I've watched a couple of his videos, and I actually reached out to him. I said, Mark, I'd be glad to mentor you a little bit in building a successful YouTube channel. I'm obviously, I'm not, PewDiePie, but I'm growing pretty good, and there are some things that I would gladly suggest to him and help him out. And the more videos of this guy I watch, the more I realize, oh, I see his problem. His problem is he was so plugged into the world, and then he blames everybody but himself for every failure. Every job he's lost or quit is someone else's fault. Everything he's done is someone else's fault. He walks away from God. It was someone else's fault. His jobs, it's someone else's fault. His student loans is someone else's fault. At some point in time, you've got to stand still and say, I am responsible. Whether I'm in a good position or a bad position, I have got to be the one responsible. This is something I learned overcoming the fallout of living in a dysfunctional family. As I lived in that dysfunctional family, I had to realize that, sure, a lot of the backgrounds of that family led me to very self-destructive behavior. But the point in time that I learned about the destructive family secrets that caused that is also the very point in time the ball was passed to me. Am I going to blame my family, or am I going to shoot the ball? And I chose to shoot. I chose to stop blaming my family. And I don't hold any disregard at all. I simply chose to sit back and go, that was hell. What can I learn? Where do I go from here? Two questions. Two questions to ask yourself in any bad situation. You get into a horrible car accident. You lose your job. You look at, you realize you got $500,000 of student loan debt. You lost every bit of valuation in your car. You made the stupidest decision you've ever made in your life. Two questions. What have I learned, and where do I go from here? Stop blaming the world for your circumstances and move beyond them. All right. Greetings, Lamer Linux. Schools have failed my generation. All I see is the schools that don't teach civics, how to pay taxes, and how to gain financial freedom. It's pathetic. Yep. Depends on the kid, yeah. Watch Eli the Computer Guy. To be honest, I wonder if I would have done much better for myself having not gone to uni and just in terms of a job, but also personal development wise. Can't watch Eli, he's snarky and cocky. I agree. I can watch him, but yeah, like I there was a video that just based on the title he had, I really wanted to watch it, but I couldn't get past his intro. It was the one, I think he did it, I don't know, he released it yesterday or something. He just went on and on for like 2 minutes about smelling your own farts. I'm like, all right, I'm done with this crap. Sorry, Eli, you lost me on this one. If he would have done a 10-second intro, smelling your own farts once, whatever, fine. But after 15 times, it was just old and stupid. And despite having a video that I probably wanted to watch the content, there's about 15 other videos I would want to watch the content too. So yeah, I'm with you. I can only watch some of Eli. That's about it. Tells us to use double space. It's a 12-point font. Makes me feel like I'm cheating. So I use 7 in single space. Kids need to read books, and lots of them. Teaches you spelling, grammar, context, and use your imagination. Absolutely. What's everyone's thoughts on Open University, online-only education? I don't want to get into that one right now. Maybe later if we got time. Used to think Eli was broadcast from prison because of that orange top he always used to wear. Oh, boy. Oh, I lost my place again. YouTube really needs to fix this comment thing. She wants to switch courses, but if she doesn't quit now, she has to pay back the amount of time of the course. Yeah. Thought my country has education problems. I guess students are the same everywhere. Yeah. Yeah, some students are great, some students are not. Some people would really benefit from college, others don't. Now, convinced I just got the right place with the right person to get my first job, throw a friend before I finished. The rest was my own work. My high school and some dude hurt a girl's feelings by saying no to insert generic drama here, and she called sexual harassment on him. Oh boy. It activated you to find friend to get first job. Why is a person sensitive, and how can you break free from sensitivity? You know, I mean, I'll tell you that obviously, like, I think a lot of extreme sensitivity is caused by extreme insecurity. The more secure you are with who you are, the less sensitive you will be to the world. Because at some point in time, if you're confident about yourself, people make this narky comment to you. It's like, whatever. But if you're all concerned about who you are, and someone else comes by and adds fuel to the fire by calling you some bad name, it's just like, it bothers you. So I think that becoming comfortable with yourself is the best way to break the concept of being too sensitive. My mom was right wing, but my dad was left wing. That would be interesting. There you go. The sheeple to our enemy. Elements of evolution are true. Prove evolution doesn't exist. We evolved from monkeys. Monkeys throw crab people. Do we throw crab at people? Nope. I would disagree. We throw verbal crap at people all the time. Actually, though, pizza, science doesn't work that way. In fact, the guys at Talk Origin tried to say that. If you want to demonstrate to me that evolution works on a scientific principle, the burden is on you to prove it. The reality is that evolution is not a scientific question. It is a philosophical question, because the only way to develop an experiment would be to get outside of the world in which it existed, and we cannot get outside of our universe. Therefore, evolution is not a scientific question. Linux addiction now. The Red Pill political group does not exist. I wish people would do research before assuming I'm part of a Red Pill community, but we don't care for politics. Okay. Greetings, Ivan. Disagree with Tom about evolution here. Even if God existed, evolution is the best way to make life. Well, we can discuss evolution on my other channel where it might fit better. Is Washington the blue pill group? Yeah, pizza, those types of things are going to help you a whole lot more with your portfolio on GitHub and stuff. Heard Brian LeDuc say when he was in a position for hire people, what he cared about was that someone could actually do and not their education. Yes, that is correct. And that is the way it should be. You know, because, and I've encountered this teaching chemistry. Chemistry is one of the first, particularly in college chemistry, it's one of the first really hard subjects you encounter, because you have to take some concepts of knowledge and combine them with things like math that you used to know before. I used to dip my students in trial by fire. The very first lab I ever did, they had to figure out, create, and then solve a system of equations. And the thing is that you get into a college level course and they're like, algebra is required for chemistry. Well, I never cared if you took algebra. I cared if you knew algebra. And there is a radical difference, especially in our modern day of college, when someone can take an entire class, pass it, and not know a single thing about it. And that is why our education system is hurting in America. It's because we have an entire education platform that functions on that basis. Oh, Louis Rossman's latest video, boys are not broken. Oh, that is absolutely, go watch that video tonight. That is an absolutely amazing video from Louis Rossmann. It's called Boys Are Not Broken. Love it. Love that video. Check it out. I live in Heronville, Vermont. That's not good. Housing market crashes, rent, or you will lose the house. More people are willing to rent during a housing crisis. Yeah. Sir, what is the best lightweight distro for a new Linux user to switch from Windows? I would use Peppermint. If that doesn't work, try MX Linux. But I like Peppermint better. Yes, Linux Lite is also good. Are you going to boycott it now that it's opt-in? I want to research it a little bit more. MGTOW apparently stands for men going their own way. Somebody had to tell me that earlier. Gregory, how's it going there? Just woke up. Wrote a long comment on your Christian channel about SanDisk clip on your latest video. Does it mean to man up? Cowboy up! Greg, I will look at that. I know your previous comment regarding the SanDisk is there's different versions of the ID tags, and the SanDisk players only look at tag 1.1 for some reason. All right, let's go ahead and I'm going to leave my comment right there, and then we're going to jump back on over to here and do the next part here. So we've talked about the job stuff. We've talked about the education stuff. Where did I go from here? Well, at that point in time, the prospects of keeping the house were looking dimmer and dimmer and dimmer, and so I sold the house and moved back to Pennsylvania, where I'm at now, because I had a lot more connections out here and opportunities, and the cost of living was actually quite a bit cheaper. Which it's going up and up, unfortunately. So, I come out here to State College, and when I first get out here, the first thing, of course, is Windows starts to move Windows 8, which I was like, whatever. But I needed a new desktop computer, and so I bought a computer that was 8.1. Something happened on Windows 8.1, and it wasn't the UI. Windows 8.1 was the very first time Microsoft pushed OneDrive, I think it was called SkyDrive at the time, on your computer, and you could not uninstall it. And I'm like, why is this thing being pushed on my computer that connects to a cloud that I can't uninstall? That made me question some things, and I put that in the back of my mind, but that wasn't enough for me to kind of jump around. Right around that time is actually the first time I really started to watch videos on YouTube. Of course, Hulu at that time was free to watch. You just had commercials and things. And prior to that, I was in an office and I would listen to things all day, but I wouldn't necessarily watch as much. But when I had moved into the new apartment, I didn't have my full office set up, and I didn't have the desktop computer. I pretty much only had the one computer and the TV. And so I hooked up the other spare computer, which I didn't even have enough table space to have two computers next to me. So one of them I set over and plugged into the TV, and I would get on there and I would stream Hulu videos, a few YouTube videos, things like that. So I'm watching, just the, TV shows that I always like to watch, true crime type stories, things like that. And I'm like, you know what? I wonder if that movie Super Size Me is on here, because I remember watching it and going, this is just liberal garbage. I'm like, I want to watch it again. Lo and behold, it was on it. So I watched it. I'm like, yep, still liberal garbage. This guy clearly has a vendetta against McDonald's, and I don't really know. But wouldn't you know, the very next video, if I can say there's one thing that red pilled me more than anything, it was the very next video that they recommended. You watch a video on Hulu at that time, and they're like, based on that video, you might like this one. Fathead. Ever watch Fathead? You can watch it on YouTube. is by Tom Naughton. It's called Fathead, which was, he started it as a documentary rebuttal to Super Size Me, where he went on a 30-day fast food diet and lost 12 pounds. And then he goes through all of the fallacies and problems with Morgan Spurlock's anti-McDonald's campaign. But that was only 30 minutes, and he wanted to have a full-length 90-minute documentary, and so he dug into a lot more of the health. Now, understand, I went to college because I was interested in health and nutrition. I have a degree in biochemistry and a doctorate in toxicology, with nutrition as my backup thing. And everything that I have learned was counter to what is being taught to us as a healthy diet. In fact, I remember my nutrition professor comes in one day with a big old bag of McDonald's. I go, that's nutritious. He says, there's a lot of nutrients in here. And it's like, that's fascinating. Everything. This is probably the biggest red pill moment for me. Everything that the medical community tells you about what is a healthy diet is a lie. From somebody with degrees in the field. Your doctor who tells you that, he doesn't know anything about biochemistry. He's trained to diagnose and treat disease, and most of his information these days comes with training seminars required to maintain his doctor's degree, put on and financed by the pharmaceutical industry. All they're set there to do is sell you pills. There is a lecture, I can't remember what the title of it is, but the guy's name, I think it's Mark Diamond. And he does a lot of research on statins and cholesterol. In fact, let me just find the title of the thing. Again, you can watch it on YouTube. I'll just find it over here and tell you what it is. But I watched that, and that really made me go, that's kind of interesting. It's not Mark Diamond. Oh, David Diamond. It's David Diamond. So the one lecture, which is the first one I saw this, he has so many talks now. This is called How Bad Science and Big Business Created the Obesity Epidemic. Watch that. Watch The Oiling of America and watch Fathead, and it will explain to you why. And that's just the very, very basic overviews. Of course, Tom Naughton's a comedian, so that's a very good, funny one. And then, of course, probably the first ever scientific lecture to have over 1 million views ever is called I think it's Sugar, the Bitter Truth. I think it is. I think it's the first ever lecture, scientific lecture with solid science in it to ever hit over that. It has 7.4 million views. It's called Sugar, the Bitter Truth by Robert Lustig. And this is kind of significant because even as I'm watching, reading through the places where I dig up a lot of my articles for the News Times, even those have such a liberal trend. They're like, oh, this stuff's all just conspiracy, and it's not. Because these are the things that you learn in a textbook that are actually based on the facts of science. But the things you're being taught by the medical community are not the things that are based on the facts of science. And so with that questioning my presuppositions, I started to question the education concept, the religious concept, because I noticed that pretty much every church I was attending really wasn't believing the Bible. I mean, they didn't even read the Bible, let alone believe it. And I think that that's probably a whole nother video for another day and maybe another place. I learned about the health, the education stuff, and right at this juncture of everything happening, Windows 10 starts collecting data on its users that you can't turn off. Well, that led me to start looking up alternatives to the Windows platform. And that's when I found, once again, Linux, which I had dabbled with in the past. It just hadn't occurred to me to go and look into Linux. And that is where I lend to this. So now with my job today, it affords me the ability to watch videos pretty much all day while I'm working to challenge and question everything. I'll watch videos on, and I've watched a lot of truther videos, and then I've watched anti-truther videos. And I want to figure out who's what, because at the very core of everything, when I first became a Christian, I was given 2 books by 2 different people with radically different views. And by reading both, I had to learn a principle called discernment. Identifying the facts amidst all of the noise. That's what red pilling is. It is seeking not this guy's opinion or that guy's opinion, not this party's opinion or that party's opinion. It is sifting through all of the noise to identify the truth. Understanding that sometimes what is presented as facts were purchased. Are there other alternatives? Is this the best or is it not? That is why I use Linux Mint and other Ubuntu-based systems in the Linux world. I'm not in this about the theory of what's better or whatever. I'm in this to get a system that works so I can get on with the rest of my life. That is what led me to my current thinking. This odyssey of education, having friends and family die all around me, losing everything that I owned a couple of times. I didn't get into all of those. Learning about, understanding that what is being told us as healthy is actually not healthy according to the actual science. Like, for example, and one of the best things, it's like they tell us to have, 60% of our diet is supposed to be carbohydrates. Take a biochemistry course. What do carbohydrates do in the bloodstream? Carbohydrates increase insulin, and insulin drives fat storage. Duh. Basic biochemistry. How do you get fat storage to reverse itself? Gluconeogenesis, the creation of sugar from fat. You have to decrease your insulin levels. How do you decrease your insulin levels? Eat less sugar. 60% of our diet is carbs. That's what kills us. That's why we're fat. Computers, look into all of the options. That's why I'm not hardcore. It's all got to be Linux. That's why I don't care about the Librem 5 phone. I don't care if my phone runs Linux. I care if my phone is privacy-centric. That's the reality, is it's learning to think for yourself. But that's exactly what our entire system doesn't want you to do. It doesn't want you to think for yourself. It wants you to be trained to be little, obedient monkeys following the instructions of the person who's in charge of you. And the reality is the people in charge of us this day and age, they're the most screwed up people of all. If I want to find a guy that's the least screwed up guy, I want to find some backwoods farmer who busies himself with producing his raw milk and growing his own vegetables. That's the guy who's grounded in this world. That's what has led me to my current thinking. So let's go ahead and jump back on over to the comments for a little bit. Tinfoil hat is getting a bit hot. Yep. Yes, it is. Yeah, man up is too misogynistic. That's right. Use person up or human up. Well, see, out west we used to use cowboy up. I mean, a cowboy could be a female. Used to be my boss. I've been doing it for years and now signed off work due to stress and so miserable he wanted to talk about his feelings. There you go. Understand what it means to be responsible and finish the job, but manning up is something I do not understand. Manning up is generally a cop-out for, someone does something really bad to you and they tell you to go man up about your feelings. No. Sometimes you gotta stop and admit, that hurts and that guy's a jerk. Why are people's emotions easy to shatter? We have developed a society of emotions that are easy to shatter. We are too self-centered. How long does it take to find the tool to fend off the bear? Huh, which tool? Now its PC is running like trash. Uh-oh. How can you free yourself from emotional sensitivity and what you wish or fulfill your responsibilities without caring? Well, I mean, for me, the best thing is, for that is to become comfortable with yourself and have yourself your own goals. Set yourself your own goals, achieve those goals, and after you have a few months of achieving your own goals, you can look at yourself and go, huh, I'm pretty successful at things. It doesn't really matter what other people think of me. I think that that's the most important. It's always case emotions are easy to shatter. Sometimes just continual drip, drip, drip that wears a person down. Yeah, and that's true. Eli doesn't know nearly as much as he thinks he does. Yeah, Eli is certainly a construct of his own world. That's true. I will agree with that. But we all are in a way. I get the feeling though, mostly because of his Asperger's, he doesn't understand that there are realities different from his. That's the reality about Eli the computer guy. He has Asperger's. He's open about that. And with that, a person with Asperger's, and I think there's a few guys watching, confirm if this is true, you have a harder time recognizing a reality outside your own reality. Especially if you have been lifted up by a lot of other people. So if you come to a lot of success, you have a really hard time spotting that. And I have friends with Asperger's, so I'm well aware of how that works. But it's an inability to see the rest of the world. I always had this weird ability. I have the ability to counsel myself because I can bring myself outside of myself and approach the same problem from multiple angles. It's just a gift I have. My responsibility for doing what's in power, making lemonade from lemons. Yep. I think schools should stop teaching languages like French and start teaching languages like Mandarin and Japanese. That depends what you want to do, I guess. I think they should all be options. Imagine schools teach code as a spoken language. There you go. Some of them do. Want to prepare for the future, start teaching students information that will help for the future. Yeah, they don't have any future. Everything in education points you to what there currently is. What's the present? Even all this talk about what do you want to do in your future, all of the things they wanted to tell me to do that I'd be great at in the future, they didn't exist. Everything I'm doing right now didn't exist when I was in high school. Keep that in mind. You don't have to know what you're going to be doing for the next 40 to 60 years of your life. It's a very distinct possibility. What you're going to be doing for the next 20 years doesn't exist right now if you're young. Keep that in mind. And that's why learning from all your experiences is good. Society's made people more sensitive. That's why I walked away and will always be against societal standards. Yeah. Because something is historically important does not mean it's practically useful. I agree. Some things are, some things aren't. Some things they want to get rid of the historical reality. I mean, look at what they're trying to do to Mark Twain. I'm not going to utter the words they want to get rid of, but from Mark Twain's classic books, the classic books are like, read the classics. Don't read that word. Don't read that word. Don't read that word. You don't know what I'm talking about? Type in Mark Twain, remove, and the next thing you'll probably see. I had a Gilbert's chemistry kit was 9 in 1960. Yeah, back when they gave you a little block of radon. Sometimes I think you just have to stop caring and do what you have to do. Yep. Shut someone down, you can just say, I don't care in their face. There you go. You should not care for others' opinions and live for yourself. Always put yourself before others. Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, okay, not sometimes. Let's see. you always should not care for others' opinions and live for yourself. Yeah, there's times you need to take care of yourself, and there's times you just need to help others. I mean, in reality. Boy's Not Broken. I already shared it. Sweet. Amen, says Diamond Dick Shuey. Well, greetings, sir. Amazing, amazing. Yep. All right, we'll see you, man. Longest time society fooled people into thinking selfishness is bad, and that's a lie. Being selfish means you take care of yourself because at the end of the day, you are all you got. I agree. I mean, and that's... I agree with that. I mean, there's times we need to stop and help others. Absolutely. But you have to put up, as Dave Ramsey says, you need to take care of your four walls first. You need to make sure you have the money to pay the bills, put food on the table, keep the car running, and keep the roof over your head. The four walls. Once you got that, you can live to fight another day. You got that, help someone else fight another day. Spurlock is a great APSer. Yes, he is. Sound like a lady, 28, found in own flat 4 years later. Right. You just got to look into how doctors treat type 2 diabetes to know they aren't interested in making people healthier. Yes, that is correct. A lot of cases of type 2 diabetes, not type 1, but a lot of cases of type 2 diabetes, if you go on a raw food diet, you will generally reverse it, in most cases, without medication in about 6 weeks. It's quite interesting. Yeah, I remember books. Books are fun. Love it when anti-vax... that's not good to love. Don't love it when kids die. That's not good. It's called Wind Blows 10. Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. Former biology teacher describes people... describes people as being mindless sheep. Stalin killed most... is it anarchists first, huh? A long ago first school IT teacher used to call people spoons that did something stupid. He was a great teacher. Thank you, Mark. I will get to the super chat in just a second. All right. Many people wear synthetics rather than natural wool makes body odor much worse. Greetings, Total. No pills necessary. Born in New York. That's right. You know what they say, and the doctor comes over there, you go into a doctor and say, I got a pain up my shoulder. The doctor says, forget about it. Just for the comment, just someone gets it. All right. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. All right. Let's see. I think I missed one or two more comments over here. Let's see. Is compatible with fundamental science. Not the scientific method. Apple and Microsoft are slaving their users more than helping them. Yes, they are. There is a, it's very classic. There is a, Are You Afraid of the Dark series. Remember that series from Nickelodeon? They took a couple years off and then they rebooted it. One of the first, it was in the first couple ones after they rebooted it. It was called Virtual Pets. Of course, it was, early 90s, so those computers were like the most horrid things ever, but it was about how these people had these video games that were enslaving the kids. That was pretty awesome. I didn't know. Yeah, yes. Eli, the computer guy, has Asperger's. Yes. I'm introvert. Can disappear in a flick. Yep, there you go. Got Asperger and I'm an introvert, but I managed to work around it. I use the measure 2, cut 1 rule. There you go. Okay. Oh, getting to the bottom. Getting to the bottom. Well, Gabriel Clausen's Tree of Life program for type 2 diabetes. No, never heard of it. It's lots of science behind it. Yeah, cut carbs to a minimum. That's about it. Why make up names for months and days of the week when you can remember months in sequential order? There you go. All right, I'm going to check my view feed. Woohoo! 1,111 views. We crossed 1 million views today during the stream. Awesome, awesome. Thanks, everyone. So that puts me at 7,907 subscribers as of now. 1,111 views as of now. In fact, I'm going to screenshot that, I think. All right. Let's see what Social Blade is telling me right now. So having just crossed that, I'll tell you that there should be about 1.5 million people with over 1 million views on YouTube. I've gone up 71 today and 4,000 views as of now. So there it is. We crossed 1 million. Woo! Well, that's not subscribers. That's views. That's how many views, channel views. I got a while yet for 1 million subscribers, but I'm coming up on 8,000. Total OS today, I'm coming up. Coming up on your number. $1 million views and a lot more fires. That is right. That is right. All right. I think what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and wrap this guy up at this point in time. So thanks for coming along on this journey of the red pill. And that's just kind of the final things. The final thing is just think for yourself. That is the final thing. Just think for yourself. So thanks for coming along, folks. So stats for this video, 89 peak concurrent, 78 as of right now, 294 playbacks, average view duration of 22 minutes and 39 seconds, and total view time hours, 111. Cool, cool. All right, guys. Well, we will catch you later. Have yourself a blessed day. I have my final video on minimalism tomorrow. And then what, moving in on Monday, I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do yet, but we'll see what happens. So catch you later. Once again, I do have, I don't think I have a thing set up for this, but if at store.switchtolinux.com, I have things like the water bottle. Of course, the logo doesn't work with my green screen well, but I have a lot of different things up there. Shop.switchtolinux.com. Also, switchtolinux.com/support learning about the other ways that you can help support the channel. So thanks for watching, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux. Let me see if I can find a kitty that way. Kitty, kitty. Yep, that got him. Aw. Come here, you. Gotta feed the kitty on the live stream. Aww. I bet are they finger looking good? Yep, they're finger looking good. Cat in a tinfoil hat. Cute kitty. Up here. Look up here. It's the cat in a tinfoil hat. All right, guys. We'll see you later.